like I said, all these are in your EDC kit. Okay, question June 2019, question 2. I've done A1, A2. B1, B2 actually you is your basic text. C we have not learned, and D is your basic text. Okay, so if like this type of standard come out, then you all should be very happy. But it's more towards exception compared to norm. Okay, more towards exception compared to norm. Okay, now you're looking at December 14, question 4. Okay, now always look at the requirements first, whether it's question 1 or question 2 or question 3 or question 4. Look at the requirements first. Look at the requirements first. Okay, you start reading. I'll find a soft copy of this. So I can start to do some highlighting. Never mind, I'll just convert it. Just hold on. Okay, so always look at the requirements first. Okay, so now, like I said, there are 4 highlighters in your question, in the what you call that, in the exam portal. Okay, so it's up to you whether you want to determine what color for what. I'm not so particular. Now, you don't have to excessively highlight. Here, all I'm interested to know is that I have to answer 3 things. Okay, so actually, if you have that awareness, then you don't really need to highlight. You just need to know that you must answer 3 things. Okay, okay. Now, so if you don't highlight, oh yeah, you can't write like this 1, 2, 3. No, because you're not. As far as I know, you cannot write anything in the answer in the question. So maybe you have to use different color, but this is still manageable. There are some she keeps on loading the requirements. You'll come across it. Okay. Now, straight away, exam technique, question 3 and 4, okay, question 3 and question 4, usually there'll be parts. Okay, 2 to 3 parts. Okay, so now, if you're rushing for time, or even you're not rushing for time, please look at all the parts first, because sometimes the easy part will be at the end. Okay, sometimes the easy part will be at the end. Right? So look at the easy part first. That means what I'm trying to tell you is that perhaps B will be easier, perhaps. Or C will be easier. Last time got 5 questions, now got 4, because last time you can choose. Right? So this is the thing that you must be aware. You have to be brave enough to open up the question and see which is easier to be done, especially if you are being time pressured, because to inch towards the magic 50. Okay. Now, this is not too difficult. Now, again, the word here, text treatment, is so wide. So generally, what you're going to do, you are generally going to mention whether is it going to be taxable, right, or not taxable, okay, right? Is it going to be exempted or not exempted? Those things in this situation. So generally, we are looking at 2 marks each, right? Now, if you do not know, let's say you do know the second one or you've forgotten, then move on to the third. Just leave some space and come back. Don't just think too much. Okay. Now, okay. So we are looking at this 28 years. Okay. So I've met one of the requirement. Remember, I'm trying to get him exempted. 55. I met another one, more than 10, right? Okay, more than 10 years, 55 years old in the same company. So this gratuity will be exempted. So your job is to just mention is exempted with the reasons. Okay, okay. Now, like I said, try to do it before you look at the answer, but you can't do all. So most likely, concentrate on the long question, question 1, question 2. You can do all, okay. If you cannot do all, just write the main points, but you must have some proper practice. Okay, you must have some proper practice. Okay, not just the practice on the exam day. Okay, so now if we look at the marks, the section you don't need to write marks. So already my answer I've already highlighted to you. Now I highlight here again. Okay, so I'm just going to check whether okay, so in this situation, I've already amended some of the answers here. I mean, based on the past years, right? I mean, I made it a bit more concise and so on. Okay, now, if you look at this, gradually consumed employment income. Now, the marking scheme just put 2 marks. Okay, how do I know it's 2 marks? Now, it's in the question, but you see the way they mark, is very subjective. So it's up to the marker, right? See, retirement gratuity 2 marks, but now it's a bit better lah. So events who you get, what they feel is for 2 marks. What they feel is for 2 marks. Okay, now, so in this situation, it's very simple because for me, I feel that okay, generally I generally follow the answer. Okay, I just change here and there for some of it. Some I just highlight. So at any time, if you want the original answer, most of the things I've taken from the original answer, but I've changed the law. If you want the original answer, you can Google like the name of the company, but put the name of the company. For the older years, use the word P6 MYS, then it will come out. The later year only they changed the name to ATX. If not, it was P6 MYS. Okay? Okay. Now, so in this situation, right? You see, she used to not subject to tax, so I don't want to change. Although if you use exempted, it's also correct. Actually, a better word is to use exempted, right? But see, the answer is not subject to tax, so all these I will not change unless the law change, because I want to give you her answers. Okay, so this is easy to get marks because you just link to the scenario. So what students usually ask
Sorry, just now the laptop there hang already, so I'm now in my sorry, the desktop hang. See, at all these hours it happens, are you right? So I changed back to my laptop. Okay, now let me just pull this out. Okay, I'll just open up the question. Okay, now I'll go on next one. EPF withdrawal. Okay, now EPF withdrawal of 1254. So you should know that this is a lump sum withdrawal. So this lump sum withdrawal is not taxable. But look at the first sentence there. Look at the first sentence in the answer. Look at the first sentence. What they are trying to tell you is that you have to like write a little bit more, but many people will not be comfortable writing like this. Because the first sentence, withdrawal from unapproved fund is subject to tax. Okay, so they are linking to section 13(1)(d). Link to section 13(1)(d). Okay, withdrawal from unapproved fund is subject to tax. Okay. Right, so the others are quite simple, like EPF is approved fund, withdrawal is non-taxable, from approved fund is not taxable, and so on. Okay, now third one is more challenging. Termination of new employment. Okay, so termination of new employment, okay, now look at this phrase, 60,000 being 3 months remuneration in lieu of notice. RM, 60,000. Being 3 months remuneration in lieu of notice. Okay, now in this scenario, this 60,000 3 months remuneration in lieu of notice, okay, what is the nature of it? Okay, you must ask yourself, what is the nature of it? You see, when I taught you compensation, I told you already, you must know the different names. Okay, you have to know the different names. So 3 months remuneration in lieu of notice. Remuneration in lieu of notice is generally what? Compensation. Okay. Yes, correct. Good. Okay, so you must know the different names. This is one of the example, right? So start mentioning it. You see the first mark, this is compensation. Just try to follow exactly, compensation for loss of employment. Then mention the rule, the exemption. And then mention that she's only for 8 months. So the entire sum will be subject to tax. So you see, you have to write specifically linking the conditions to the rules, right? Write specifically linking the conditions to the rules, right? And then you can get the marks. Now you must be alert. She only worked for her new employment for 8 months, right? For 8 months. Okay. Now, number 2 is harder a bit. 260 and 400. Okay. Now, if you do not know one of it, then you do the other one first. This is all the simple things that you should be aware. Okay. So, like this small questions, you don't really need a title if you because it's not question 1. But if you want, you can put like a sum of 260,000. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now look at the 260,000. Okay. RM 260,000. Now this one, the 13 months remuneration. So now you must start thinking because this is a bit indirect. Okay, this 260,000, 13 months remuneration. This is a bit indirect. Okay, so what is the nature of it? Okay, now, yes, they didn't use the word gratuity. They didn't use the word compensation for loss of employment, right? Okay, they didn't use that. So how do you think? How do you think? Okay, now, the last sentence, she plans to sue the company for the remaining 13 months remuneration of 260,000 and damages of 400,000. Okay, we look at it one by one. So start thinking of the lump sum received, lump sum receipts. Okay, so your brain will start thinking of it. Always try to link up with the two major one first. If cannot, then you think of others, but this is the general two major items. Start thinking of this. Okay, don't just sit down there and blank and say, what's this? I didn't see the word gratuity. I didn't see the word compensation for loss of employment. No, it's time for you to think a bit now. So you start thinking gratuity. Okay, gratuity is for past achievements it's for gratitude of services. Gratitude of services. So in this situation, it's not relevant because she was terminated. Okay, all this you don't have to write down because you straight away write the answer in the answer provided. This is your thought process. right? Your thought process. As far as I know, computer-based exam halls, they provide one piece of paper. I think you can request for more, but if you are taking remote, no paper, so those taking remote, you must learn to use the scratch pad. Gratuities for gratitude of services. Here, it is not gratitude of service, so not relevant. Right? Gratuities for gratitude of service, this is not relevant. So I got no choice. I have to look at compensation for loss of employment. Okay, right? And also, it is helped by what? By this payment in lieu of notice. Okay, how do I get that? Okay, she didn't tell you anything, but essentially, this is the compensation. Okay, sorry, we are now looking at the payment lieu of notice already finished. We are now looking at the 260,000. Okay, so just so what it means is that this 13 months remuneration is arguably compensation because they didn't tell you. This is also considered like payment in lieu of notice, right? They should have given her because they didn't tell her properly. Okay, so you need to look at gratuity or compensation for loss of employment. So if it's compensation for loss of employment, it's still taxable in full because she only worked for 8 months. Okay, she only worked for 8 months. Okay, now, next one is harder a bit. Damages. Okay, so now, when you look at the word damages, now you can't link with gratuity or compensation for loss of employment. Okay, so whether there's any clues, but I doubt there's any clues there. Okay, damage to her reputation caused by her dismissal. Okay, now in this scenario, when I say damages, okay, the clue here is the word reputation. Nature of it. Okay, reputation. So, easier said than done, but you must now look at the word reputation. And what must you do? Okay, you have to look at the word reputation. Okay, reputation is like, think of it, is something like permanent. So once you think permanent, capital. That's how you should know, because in this situation, they are asking for tax treatment. Okay, they are asking for tax treatment. So either capital or revenue. Tax treatment is either capital or revenue. In this scenario, there are many scenarios for tax treatment, right? So first step, you must ask yourself, is it going to be taxable or not taxable? So reputation is like something permanent is capital. So you have to think along those lines, but if you cannot think, then you try to move on to other parts of the question. Don't just spend time on things that you are not sure. Right? So tax treatment, is it capital or revenue? So this should be capital because it's something permanent. Okay. So that's how you must try to think. Okay. Now, in this situation, the first phrase there, 400,000 is compensation for damage to Miss Good's reputation caused by her dismissal. So reputation is similar to goodwill. Nothing much in the first phrase there. As long as you mention reputation is capital and so on, and then you're on the right track. Okay, right? Now, if you mention it's a lump sum payment, as long as the word capital is there, they should give you the marks. So when you look at number A, okay, A1 is okay, A2 explain the accessibility. That means same thing. Is it taxable or not taxable? Right? Explain the accessibility. Is it taxable or not taxable, and so on. Okay. Okay. We'll go on to B. Okay. The first one I already told you in the teaching notes. Lived in Malaysia between 4 and 7 months every year since the year 2011. Four to 7 months. All right. 4 to 7 months. Okay. Now, what happened here is that you must always be conservative. I already told you in class, you cannot think in 7 months. You must take the worst case scenario. Four months. Okay, right? So they put 2011. Okay, this exam was 2014 December. Right? So what happened? We got 2014. Now 4 months is 120 days. So all these are your thought process. There's no need to write the short note, straight away transfer, because you'll be really rushing for time. Okay, you'll be rushing for time. Okay, then 2013 120. Okay, I need 3 preceding years, so it's okay, right? I got it. Okay, in this situation, I can qualify for resident because now you must explain. If you write the section 71C without explanation, there won't be marks. Okay, so you need to explain why. Right? So there's no marks for writing the section, but if you use 7 months, they will not accept because it's 4 to 7. They didn't tell you, right? They didn't tell you. They didn't tell you. So you have to be careful. 4 months is not 182 days. So minimum 90 days stay, and then qualifies resident. See, the answers are all very specific. Okay, answers are specific, right? So you must be specific. What are the 3 years, right? So 90 days in 2014 and also at least 90 days in 11, 12, 13. So you have to mention that if you mention at 1, 2 days, at least link back to the law that he must be in Malaysia for at least 90 days in current year and 3 out of 4 preceding years. Okay, at least mention the law. Okay. Okay. Now, the second part actually we have not learned yet, 4.2. But I'll just explain briefly to you because I'm not coming back to this question anymore. I'm not coming back to this question anymore. Okay, now for B2 is just telling you, asking you, now many people do not know the meaning of the word significance. Yeah, actually it's very broad, but in this situation is quite importance of being a resident. Okay, what is the importance of being a resident? Okay, so this one is actually double taxation agreement. Okay, so we have not learned yet. It's under the DTA chapter. Now, what they are telling you is that he's a resident in Malaysia. If he suffers withholding tax or when he carries out business activities in those countries, okay, what it means is that Mr. Rate may be taxed in Malaysia and also the overseas countries. So what reliefs are, any reliefs which are available for them or not? Any reliefs available or not? So this is what it means. He may be taxed in Malaysia and also the overseas countries. Is there any reliefs or not? Okay, now if you have studied before, but most of you all have not studied before, okay, now I'm trying to explain to you. So if you, when we look at the reliefs, DTA is double taxation agreement reliefs available to those who are resident in their countries, in their country. So if he's a resident in Malaysia, so he will enjoy the DTA reliefs in his for Malaysian tax, right? Okay, so I illustrate further. Resident in Malaysia enjoy DTA relief against Malaysian tax payable. Okay, what is DTA relief? It just is that you are being taxed twice, one in Malaysia, one in overseas. Why are you being taxed in Malaysia? Because you're doing your work here. So as a resident, right, we just need to ask ourselves, are there any reliefs available? DTA reliefs available to those who are resident in their country. So resident in Malaysia enjoy DTA relief against Malaysian tax payable. Okay, this part of the answer. And also one more thing. Okay, reliefs available, DTA reliefs could reduce withholding tax. Now, what's a DTA? DTA is a double taxation agreement that we sign with another country. It's in chapter 30 plus. So here, the reliefs could reduce the withholding tax. Okay, instead of the rate of 10%, you may pay 8%. Okay, so that's the gist of the answer. So first paragraph is telling you treaty benefits is the relief. Is the treaty benefits, what it means is when Malaysia signed with another country, this is like double taxation agreement benefits. That's what it means. Treaty means it's an agreement, right? Treaty is an agreement. So double taxation agreement benefits. And then like I told you, preferential rate of withholding tax, right? That means lower rate. And if he's subject to double tax in Malaysia or overseas, he's entitled to claim bilateral tax relief. Bilateral is one of the double tax reliefs measures. We'll learn in chapter 30 plus. So income which is subject, the same income which is subject to tax in Malaysia and other countries will be entitled to claim bilateral relief. Okay, right? One of the double tax relief measures. Okay, now here a bit hard for you to look at. Business activities in other countries may not be tantamount to having a fixed base. So this is like a permanent establishment. Okay. Sorry, you have not really learned what's a permanent establishment. So I'll just use place of business. So he will avoid tax in those countries because he doesn't have a place of business. Okay, he doesn't have a place of business. That's why they say he will avoid business tax, but withholding tax, he may be taxed on it. Okay, so avoiding tax in this situation is avoiding business tax. Okay, right? When you learn, you will find it easier to understand. Okay, now 3 is more relevant. Okay, now how do I get the 4 marks? Business income derived from Malaysia. So look at we are going to find for clues. Now you cannot say he's a resident, he will be derived from Malaysia. Don't ever write like that. Okay, now one of the main points is that okay, where is the core activity performed? Where is the core activity performed? Right? That means where is the important and integral activity performed? Where did he perform it? Important and integral activity, where is it performed? Okay, so go back to the question, right? What did he do in Malaysia? Second paragraph, nothing much there, but we may want to come back to that. Write down the main points first. Write down what you know is relevant. Careful what I say. Write down what you know which is relevant. You need to do that in the 3 hours, 15 minutes. Sorry, type down what you know which is relevant. Okay, so in this situation, now if you look at these few things, I can get a clue that he maintains his studio office. Right? So you need to elaborate that. Studio office, you can just use your own words, look a little bit take from the text, is where his main activities are done. Okay, now don't just stop there, because many people in the exam write very briefly. Many people in the exam, they write very briefly. So try to elaborate. What are the main activities? Okay, see whether you can get or not here. Okay, now they don't tell you, right, what is his main activities. So try to be a little bit more specific. Main activities in preparing his architectural design and photography pursuits. Example of activities. Okay, if possible, here they given you marks for that, right? If not, be a little bit more specific. Okay, now how can you be a little bit more specific? Sorry, typo there. How can you be a little bit more specific? Main activities to prepare his architectural designs. Okay, try to find from the question. If none, then you may have to think a little bit, because they're given half a mark. I'll show you later. Okay, now if you write like this, perhaps you're going to get 1 mark or 1.5, right? Because this is fair enough. The main activities are done in Malaysia. Studio office located in Malaysia. Okay, but that's not enough. So let's look for more clues. Okay, regularly travel to Asia Pacific countries for business and photography purposes. So you can link a bit. Okay, travel to overseas countries. Okay, okay. So how do we try to link here? Okay, all this will come with lots of practice. So, core activities not done overseas. Core activities are not done overseas. Okay, right? Then elaborate a bit. What are those activities overseas, right? What are those activities that? Just field trip, okay? Just field trip. Field trip is not the core activity. He just take photo for it, right? But process photo, draw the design, all in Malaysia, right? All in Malaysia. Stock photographs to international corporations. So he edits everything, he performs the work in Malaysia. Core activities not done overseas. So just give an example. Just field trips overseas. Okay. Not an integral activity. Just field trip overseas is not an integral activity. Right, so along these lines, now then you will get, if you elaborate, you'll get 1 mark. So you got 2.5 already. Okay, what else? Okay, he does not have any fixed base in any country other than Malaysia. Okay, this one you already elaborated. The fixed base is like a place of business. So you already elaborated that it's his studio. That's how you write. Now don't go and write, he is a resident, therefore the income is derived from Malaysia. They may not have any mood to read any other things that you write once you write that, because it's not acceptable. Okay, you cannot do that. Okay, so in this situation, yeah, okay, we already have identified, I told you, integral or core activities. Now, you see the second paragraph is a bit hard to write because we are not architect people. We're not architect students. Look at that, the photography also we are not. So they are just giving examples of main activities and telling you where sales occur is not important, it's where does he do the main activities. Okay, so like I told you, I'm arguing that the main activities are in Malaysia. Okay, what he does overseas is not considered main. It's just like field trip and so on, although it's not the answer, but they can give you credit for it. Because most of y'all will not write the details of the architectural activities or the photography activities. Okay, okay. So what I've wrote in the chat box could get you around 2.5 marks. Maybe if you write a little bit more deeper, you can get 3 marks. Yeah, emphasizing where sales occur is not important. Is more important in this situation is where the important work is done, core or integral activity. Okay, ponder on it. Okay, if we are done, we'll go on to December 12th, right? Question 5. Right, so you have to be detailed a bit. Okay, this one I think I have the... Yeah, good. Okay, now, for this question 5, okay, you practically need to know how to do a basic computation. So, the latest it turned up was June 2021, question 2. So, chances are low because it doesn't come out always. So, those people, June 2021, they are very lucky. This basic com came out. Okay, so please, everybody must know how to do a basic computation. Okay, everyone must know how to do a basic computation. Okay, now when I say basic computation is like section 13(1)(a). Now you notice, no need to go so detailed and all that. They're not going to ask you, right? There's a few of this in the past year. I'll give you the latest one. After I finish discussing this, you can look at that question. They're not going to ask you so detailed. That was tested in the lower level. So broadly, you should know what's under A, B, just broadly. Don't have to go for all the small, minor details based on what we have seen in the past year, because this is occasionally coming out. So I have to be honest with you, chances of this remission package is low for this December exams. It's a bit low. Okay, so you must know how to do a basic computation. Like A is for cash payments, perquisite. B is for benefit in kind. Okay, C is for unfurnished accommodation. D is for unapproved fund. E is for compensation for loss of employment. All this you need to be aware, right? You need to be aware. Okay. Now, so next step, we just look at the question. Okay, and then you also need to know basic reliefs. Actually, you don't really need to know, like, so far what she has asked is like self, child, EPF. She didn't go further down. Okay. Okay, so these are the basic reliefs, self-child or EPF. Now, next one. Okay, we'll take a look. Now, always, like I said, look at the requirement first. So remember, there are few. Sorry, there are two. Calculate the income tax chargeable. Compare the merits of two packages. That means what is the better, which one is better? Now, this is relevant in your real life when you are very successful person, not at the lower level. So when you're very successful, companies will offer you all these packages and ask you to pick. Okay. Now, net disposable income is actually your money. How much money you left after paying off your income tax, house, and car rental. Okay, money remaining after paying expenditure. So it's based on, when I say net disposal income, we will take the monetary values only. Okay. Okay, take a look at this. So if you want to copy down, you can. There's some knowledge about this in the chapter 42, tax planning for individuals. Okay, so this is the first requirement here. Okay, we're gonna take the we're gonna look at it and then look at the calculations, and then B and C we'll look at it later. Okay. Okay. Now, it'll be good for you to calculate side by side instead of calculating one by one separately. If you do one by one, you're going to get four computations, which is quite long. Okay. Now, I have a few things I have to do. So the first one is calculate the income tax chargeable. Okay. Right? Compare relative merits of two packages. That means which is beneficial. So you have to learn how to write it. So we're going to calculate the income tax chargeable. Like I said, for personal tax, you don't need to know anything fancy. In fact, during the past year should be enough. Yes, of course, the whole list of reliefs are all there in your textbook. But just the main ones. Okay, so Now, here his employer is prepared to incur up to 2 to 4,000 a year for his service. So this is the max they can pay him, including his employer's contribution to EPF. So when company want take you to work, they will not just take into account your salary. They'll take into account your EPF to see how much it costs them. They'll not take into account your salary only. They'll take into account your EPF to see how much it costs them. Okay. Now, so now there's no need to do it 4 columns. Just do it like this. Package A separately, package B separately. Don't go and put package A 2 columns and then beside that 2 columns. No, making very hard for people to mark. Right? If you ask me, shall I do the disposable income separately? No. Now, many people, they ask, is disposable income a tax term? The answer is no, it's not. Because they cannot find it in the textbook as we learn personal tax. Okay. So, we look at the first package, 200,000. Now, all you need to know is that this is tax and where is it taxed? You see, I don't even need to write the section. Right? They are not emphasized. Of course, you have to follow the order. So this 200,000 is in cash. So it's under section 13(1)(a). Under section 13(1)(a). Right now, I don't even need to write down that. Okay. I'll prove it to you. This is the original answer. Just I told you how to get the original answer. But they careful. They are not, some people, they don't want to collect the EDC or they don't download, then they download from ACCA website or the Google, and then they read the outdated answers, right? See, nobody is writing 13(1)(a), but of course, you cannot put personal reliefs first. Straight away 0. This is the original answer. So don't bother about that. Okay, make sure you know that this is cash, but this one is quite occasionally comes out. It's not regular, and last came out June 2021 after some time. So it's not in our radar for December. That's why I don't discuss in the normal class, because normal class are already chasing the syllabus. Right? So I discuss in these extra sessions and like that. Then after I won't discuss anymore. Right? Actually, I don't really plan to do any more of this remuneration package because I've done one now. And it's not that important, I feel, for this December. But anyway, you must cover your base. Okay. Now, yeah, he told you to use 6,000, but that's outdated. Nowadays, the EPF is separate from the life insurance. Okay. Now, I'm just going to revise again how to count the tax. Okay, then after I'll go to the disposable income column. So you must know everybody got 9,000 relief and 4,000. Now, why must I put EPF by employer? Because it's mentioned here, right? Now, employer's contribution is exempted. Why? It is an exempt fund. Okay, EPF is an approved fund, so it's exempted. Right? EPF is an approved fund, it's exempted. Okay. So please don't go and write taxable here. Now, okay, well, I'll come to disposable income later. Let me finish my tax payable. Okay. So self and EPF employee. Okay, nothing is stated about his child and all that. Okay. Now, how do I count? Okay, the other day I already taught you. Okay, this one is already printed out in the your EDC for you. Those collected the hard copy. For those soft copy, don't have. But you can download from the eLearn. Okay. Now, definitely you must learn how to count text, but sometimes for personal text, no need. Sometimes for personal text, no need because they don't really ask you count text. So look at the band, it falls under 187,000. Okay, 27,000. Now, be surprised at this level, some students will take 187 times 24%. Oh, you. Now, you can't do all those. So look at the band before, 10,7, balance at 24. So you can just count it briefly. You don't need to show properly because they know already at this level, you should be able to count text. So this 1.5 marks is for all, not just the tax payable. It's up to the marker to distribute. Okay, now I will come to disposable income. So one of the things that you must be aware is EPF by employer, it could be disposable income or it need not be. So how do you know? Very simple. Look for the question will tell you. You should assume anak Malaysia is eligible for tax relief. Now we cannot do that now because the relief has already been changed. So I don't want to purposely put 6,000 now because it's no longer there. 3, the employer's EPF as non-disposable income. That means it's something that you cannot get yet. This is logical, but sometimes you'll say treat it as disposable income. So what is disposable income? Is actually all your cash remuneration minus your expenditure in cash. Okay, that is disposable income. Money remaining after paying expenditure. So I can also make it like this, cash remuneration less out cash expenditure. Cash remuneration less out cash expenditure. Okay, okay. Now, so sometimes they'll say treat it as disposable income. Sometimes no, they have to tell you. Now, why the logic is no is because you're not going to get it now. Remember, when are we going to get it? We're only going to get it when we retire or we take out for certain items. That's why it's not inside there. So follow. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Okay, so go back here. Okay, so now this column, disposable income. Now some students say, if I want to do it separately, actually now can, but when paper-based, very hard. Because now you can just copy and paste down there. But better to do side by side, so you save time. Because the descriptions are exactly like this. But of course, this is not, they ask you not to consider. Now, reliefs are not part of it because it's not a cash outlay. So tax payable is a cash outlay. EPF payments is also a cash outlay, right? Cash outflow. EPF payment is also a cash outflow. Okay, now what else do I need to deduct? So go back to the question. So they didn't tell you directly. If you just stop deducting there, that means you have not really studied this remuneration package. Okay, it's being told directly here in the third paragraph. if Anak Malaysia accepts package A, he expects his domestic expenditure will include house rental and car rental. House rental and car rental. So what it means, the employer is not paying for him, he has to incur himself. Now, I'm not writing that down, it should be understood. The employer is not paying for him, he has to incur the expenditure himself. Right, so I must minus 60 minus 12. Okay, so I got net disposable income, another 1 mark. Okay, now for package B, so you just follow the what is being tested, package B. Cash remuneration, employer's EPF contribution, that is exempted, right, for tax, and also it is not required to be part of the disposable income. Okay, unfurnished 60, so later, company car 120. Now, this is the benefit in kind, is given here, it's not given in the table, but given here. So last time we asked her, will it be given if test like that? Answers yes, it'll be given. Okay, so, but you must know you have to put it under section 13(1)(b). It's a benefit in kind, you're using the company's car. Okay, free shares. Okay, problem is free shares. Remember, when we receive it, we are going to bring it to tax. Okay, so at the time of receipt, the market value is 15,000 free shares. Okay, next is what section? Okay, now, so this under A, and then some people ask me, why is it under disposable income? Because shares can be converted to money. Anything that I can convert to money, I will take it. Okay, anything I can convert to money, I'll take it. Now you see, I don't even need to subtitle 13(1)(a). They're not really interested. Just want you to what is taxable, what is not. But please follow the order. Put the free shares before the car. You put it after cannot, because A must be before B. Okay, now remember that day we learned, I don't know whether you still remember, for the unfurnished accommodation, I must exclude share, exclude whether share award or share options, it needs to be excluded. Okay, exclude the share. That's why 30% times 120. Here I can compare because he's not a director of a control company. Okay, so you must remember all the small points, no shares, right? Whatever has come out in the past, definitely I'll go through in class 1. And also what I feel important but didn't come out in past year also I will go through. Okay, so this one must exclude the share. Don't take 30 times 135. Any shares, whether free shares or ESOS and so on. Okay, so the rest be the same. How to count tax you should know already. And then disposable income, same items, EPF. But in this situation now, the house is not included because it's not a cash inflow, right? It's not a cash inflow. Okay. Okay. Once you have calculated, second job is compare the relative merit. Merit means advantage. So what you need to be aware of is you must also talk about it, compare the relative merits, and later you most likely you have to pick which is better, right? It's understood. So when you want to compare items, generally what you need to say is that, of course, which one is better between A and B, but you must also talk about merits of A. Okay, now you'll be facing a lot of explanation of calculation. Usually in ATX, calculation analysis will include differences between the options, right? So you must be careful. Now you see, nobody explains. Okay, nobody explains now. Okay, section 13(1)(a) is for remuneration and perquisite. Nobody explains that. Okay, child and EPF employee can get a relief. No, don't need to explain that. You just need to explain the differences, right? Usually in ATX calculation analysis, you just need to explain the differences. Okay, you need to explain the differences. Okay, differences in options. Okay, so what is different? Now, just mention what is different is that instead of, see, this two, instead of house he incur himself, car he incur himself, this is being paid. So you notice that in general, but sometimes they know students memorize, so it's not always. Generally, the tax plus benefit package will give you a lower tax, but not always. You must count. Will give you a lower tax and a higher disposable income, 95 compared to 74. So that's the difference, right? The difference is because I don't have to take out money to look for a house and car. I don't have to take out money to look for a house and car. What I can do, I'll be only taxed on the value of the house and car. Okay, I can only be taxed on the value of house and car. Okay, so tell the differences like that. Okay, and one more difference is that I'll get free shares. Okay, so look at it. Now we must mention some merits. So some of these are in chapter 42, which we'll come to it later. So this is package A. Now you don't really need to highlight, simple, straightforward. It's just what it means is cash base and offers larger base. That's the advantage. Okay, the next line, you see, they also contrast with disadvantage. There's no deduction, right? You cannot deduct for house and car rental because it's not allowable against employment income. Okay, so we are contrasting both. Like A, higher EPF, B, lower EPF. Now, the parts I don't highlight, because this is the model answer, right? You won't have time to write. So like this first sentence, I think it doesn't benefit anybody. In both packages, he lives in the same house and drives the same kind of car. We don't really need to remember that. Now, you see, okay, in general, what we are doing is that, okay, we can mention what is the difference. Okay, so here we didn't really mention what's the difference, but we explain why is it lower. Why is it lower? Okay. Okay, not really explained here also, but in general, you can explain. We'll include difference in options. And then you'll contrast with the differences. So package B, we talk about the EPF, the base is lower. The base is lower. Okay. Because EPF is based on cash, remuneration, and fixed allowances, EPF is not based on benefit in kind. Okay, EPF is not based on benefit in kind. Okay, so this lower EPF contributions by the employer, that's the amount 96. But free shares may appreciate in value. So at the end of the day, make a conclusion now why package B is preferable. Okay, so along those lines, generally explain the differences why, and then contrast the points. There's no need to explain how you arrive at these figures and all that. That's not really needed. Okay. Now, B and C are slightly easier. So if you really cannot explain the differences, then maybe you leave some space and look at B and C. Income and capital components of remittance of 2 million. Okay, this 2 million. Okay, now, think about it. Cumulative savings from his earnings and capital gains while abroad. Okay. So they are asking you, just the first part, savings from earnings and capital gains while abroad. So this is foreign source income, because it did not happen, the source was not derived from Malaysia. That's what you need to write. So the disposal didn't happen in Malaysia. Then some of y'all will ask me, must I bring up the section 3 actually remitted is taxable but an exemption exists? Yeah, nothing wrong in that, but in this case, there's not enough marks here. So capital gains only for properties in Malaysia. Okay, we look at C. Okay, explain tax treatment of the income or any realized gain from investments plan. So is this, so he plans to invest half his sum for residential property for rental. So rental is one. Okay. Further quarter in shares. Shares is another one. Okay. So you have to write both dividend and capital appreciation. So dividend is single tier, right? Capital exempted, capital appreciation, the gain is not taxable because it's a disposal of shares. Place deposit on bank to earn interest. So interest for a resident individual is exempted. Now I'm looking for realized gain. Yeah, realized gain, they are talking more towards the shares. Okay. Yeah. So you have to be careful. Now, one thing that you need to be aware is when they ask about income, okay, I hope you can remember, yeah, write in the box. Income in ATX generally means statutory income. Okay, income in ATX generally means statutory income, unless they tell you gross. Yeah, if she's kind enough, she can put that statutory, but she doesn't want. So you must also explain about the deductions. Remember what is statutory income? Gross less out deductions. Okay, gross less out deductions. Right, that's statutory income. Okay, so this half you elaborate. Investment would yield rental income. You should know, and then mention the expenses. See, specific mention cannot deduct CA. So be careful. It didn't say cannot deduct IBA. Yesterday we read rental, whether investment or business, we can still deduct industrial building allowance. But CA cannot for investment source. So dividend, use the word exempted. Realized gain is not taxable in Malaysia. So if you want to bring in that he's not buying and selling shares regularly, can, but they didn't say anything in its question. It's just assume he's not doing that. So interest is exempted. Now, without any limits or threshold, I don't think anyone can remember that. What they are telling you is that the whole interest is exempted from tax in Malaysia for a resident individual. Even for non-resident, yes, provided you don't have a place of business in Malaysia, non-resident individual, right? Or sorry, non-resident person, provided you don't have a place of business in Malaysia. Okay, now this type is very rare. Once in a while they come out. After Anak Malaysia, there are other examples. If I'm not mistaken, there are two more inside here, but one of it is okay, for your own practice. Partial of it is remuneration package. Partial is remuneration package. Okay. Done with this. So I will track all the questions that we have done during these classes. I'm not going to repeat back again because I don't waste your time. Okay, we'll take a short break. Okay, we'll break around 20 minutes. Now, try to look at December 2018 question 3. Sorry, question 2. Okay, Miss Day, these badges of trade. So here, I'm going to tell you, we can learn a lot from here on exam techniques and so on. We'll discuss this whole question. We'll take around an hour. So we'll start back at 3:20. Okay, if you got any doubts or anything or any other way of answering, please feel free to voice out or check. Okay, feel free to voice out or check. but I hope our system is as friendly. For your own practice, June 2020. Okay, same thing. Look at the requirements first, but most of the times you cannot get anything on the requirements. But what you need to do, exam technique, copy, because you're gonna, but I hope our system is as friendly as the practice platform one. Okay, what you need to do, Control C. Okay, so the requirement is in your answer script. Okay, and then after that, you might also want to copy another exhibit here, right? So that you can use this exhibit for subtitles. But the format will be very closer when you copy from the in the practice platform. The format will not be as nice as this, or practically what will happen is that they are all sticking together, but something better than nothing, because for the requirement you don't need to write you don't have to write back again. You can just put A. You only need the subtitles from maybe exhibit 2. Okay, so when you copy, it will come out like that, very close to each other. I think some of y'all are aware already, right? Those who have tried this before, you're aware of it. Okay, so I hope it's not really a hindrance for you. Right? Okay. Then copy requirements, copy exhibit 2, right? So generally the requirements is just to see how much you need to write and to estimate your time. So some students will micromanage, but for me, I feel as long as you know when you should leave it. Remember, if you are not choosing your question, it is 1.95 minutes. Okay, if you are choosing, then 1.85. Okay, right, 1.95 minutes per mark. Right, not choosing, because nowadays got a lot of parts and all that. So it may not be practical. And past trends question 1 has a lot of small parts. So I feel no need to choose. Long ago, when it was paper-based, then I told the students choose it. Because paper-based easy. You can just flip, flip, flip and choose. Right? But computer-based, we can't do that. You have to open, open, open. Right? Unless you see something you didn't see in question 1 before, then you don't do it. But I'll suggest nowadays it is very reasonable to follow according to order, but you need to be disciplined. What I want you to do is like you come to question 3 and then you got no time for question 4. Then it may be bad if question 4 is easier than question 3. Okay, never mind. So you must move on. Okay, now always look at the requirements first. Okay, always look at the requirements first. Okay. Now, present arguments for and against the treatment on the gain on disposal as income from an adventure nature of trade. State your conclusion. Okay. Now, even though conclusion is not required for this type of badges of trade, you must write it. Okay, for badges of trade, you must write it. Okay, you have to write your conclusion. Right. Okay. Now, see, the word badges of trade is not stated there. So you must have an inkling that it is badges of trade. Now, the clue is this term in blue. Adventure in the nature of trade. Okay. Same thing. They are asking for badges of trade, but they refuse to use that word. Whenever you see capital versus revenue, whenever you see capital versus revenue, for in general, unless there are specific rules, in general, we have to use the badges of trade. Okay, right? We have to use the badges of trade to evaluate. Whenever you see capital versus revenue, in general, we have to use the badges of trade to evaluate. Okay, okay. Sorry, it's December 18, question 2. So please, I don't want you to I do not want you to I mean, you do know what they're asking, because this 1, 2, 10 marks already. And then number 3 is actually a general knowledge question. They ask you to reassess what you have done previously. Okay. Okay, this one is about business income. Why is it derived from Malaysia? Expenses qualify for tax deduction. This is some basic tax admin. You actually have learned, but many would have forgotten. Okay, prepare notes for your manager. Now, notes means you do not need sentence, but very rare she asks you to do notes. Okay, so remember for badges of trade, okay, remember for badges of trade, split the page into 2 and write down the easy points. Split the page into 2 and write down the easy points. Okay, because what I'm worried is they are definitely going to ask you to do 2 sides. There's no more justifying you to do 1 side. No more. They are definitely going to ask you to do 2. Okay, 2 means 2 right, contrasting treatments. Contrasting treatments. Right. So what you can do, So it's up to you whether, because when you answer, there only should be two windows side by side like this. Two windows side by side. Okay, left is your exhibit 1 and right is your answer, whether it's in Word or processor. Okay, whether it's in Word or processor. Sorry, Word or Excel. But the problem is, I already told you, when you copy, the format will run, it will be like this. Prepare, there won't be any space. Okay, so, but no choice, because if you open a lot of windows, but it's up to you, what best works for you. Okay, this one is not my idea. This idea I watched from a video in the ACCA website. Okay, from an expert tutor. Okay, actually there are quite a lot of videos there to watch. They said ask students to copy and so on. But I find it very reasonable because there's only two windows open. Okay, but of course you must put a line all this, or later you delete or you put a line. If let's say time pressure, you got no time to delete, you put a line and then you start and then you write answer. Because these are all not your answer. Okay. Okay. Now, so this will be in exhibit 2. Now this all in exhibit. So for those who first time in P level, I will strongly advise you to watch some videos on practice platform. Those who first time in P level, but strategic professional level. But those who not, then you are quite okay. Okay. I'll try to check with the office whether they have put you inside the ATX practice platform or not. So you can practice from there. Try out this whether you, when you paste, there's one sample question there. I think it's December year end. Okay, this word very nice, comes out like that, but when you paste there, it will not come out so nicely. Okay, now I'll move on. Okay, so what you need to do, okay, adventure or concern in the nature of trade. Okay, so he told you to use adventure or concern in nature of trade. That means isolated transaction. So you just follow. Okay, and then here, capital. Okay, so as you read, you transfer what you feel is correct. No need to write any more short notes. So generally, one will be easier to fill up than the rest. Always like that. One will be easier to fill up than the rest. So doesn't matter, you can carry on filling up the one you're comfortable with, but try to squeeze out some points if can. If cannot, you move on. Because time management is a very stressful thing in ATX. Okay. Okay. Now, so nowadays, they are very kind. I already many times I told you, actually, it's not really necessary to read the whole thing. Okay, yeah, last time in paper-based, I told the students to read the whole thing. If they want to give you general information, which is for the whole question, then, because why I'm trying to change my advice, because every time after the exam, I mean the actual exam, progress tests are so, progress test more you don't know how to do. I'm not scaring you. Try your best, okay? Okay, for me, I feel, of course, 50 above, very good. 40 above is also reasonable. 30 above, you're still not there, but you're on the right path. I just need a little bit more, but below 30, you're in trouble. Single digit or below 20 especially, gone. And 20 to 30 also cannot. Okay. Now, so if they want to give you general information, they will give you at the top. Any general information will be given at the top. Okay. Now, so this A1, the info will be in the first paragraph or first and second. That's it. Right? But if you are worried, then you read until property disposals. You see, she's actually they are very kind. But students not refuse. They don't see the clue. Sorry, they don't see the clue. Property disposals relate to treatment of property gains. Right? So, and it will follow the order because they know students are time pressured. Okay. So, now you must notice the date. Okay, notice the date. 2nd December 18, usually is the exam day. So, Miss Day, a Malaysian citizen and resident. Okay, I don't really need to highlight citizen and resident. I'm not sure why it's there. Maybe it's we may use later. But anyway, if you want, you can highlight. It may be used, it may not be used. Okay, it's an architect. Okay, the blue one are my points, but nowadays you cannot annotate the question paper. So for you, don't waste your time writing in the scratch pad or writing in the piece of paper. There is no time to plan unless it's something very complex or you want to organize your thoughts. Straight away, transfer. Okay, now you may not really see it. Okay, architect and property disposal, because architect designs property. So there is a related field. Architect designs property, there is a related field. Okay, so immediately, okay, if you found it, you can straight away write here. Okay, now try to use proper word. Sound like one or two of you all will write in big letters. Now indicates you are angry. It's a very bad feeling. Okay, so okay, now these are all small points. So if you want to prepare subtitles, also can. If you don't want, also can. I leave it to you. But because they say notes, so she's already telling you a clue that I do not need proper sentences. Now, if she doesn't tell you that, you must have a proper sentence, short sentence, even though it's number 2. Okay. Okay. Related field. So you must explain a bit. Don't just write related field. If you just write the title without explanation, you are not getting anything. Okay, these people are strict. They know it's the last chance for us to see, are you good enough to go out there already? Okay, to work or to pass. So just basic, okay, Miss Day is an architect. Okay, just now, of course, everybody knows she's an architect. Now, you must say something that is not really in the text. I mean, for this situation. Okay, therefore, she is experienced in property design. Okay, or experience in properties, something like that. And then just conclude. Now, even if they say notes, if you write short sentences, okay. Anyway, there's no format marks for number 2. Okay, she has expertise in a related field. Okay, there they will it be properly done now, formatted for you. As she has expertise in a related field, this indicates trading. Now, can use short form. I mean, instead of writing adventure concern in the nature of trade is understood. As I said, the points are the same. So something like that, related field. Okay, so you transfer immediately. Don't read, wait, and then transfer. You may forget because you cannot annotate like what I do blue here. Okay. Since January, she's been working 3 days a week, devoting the remaining days. Okay. There may not be anything here, but if you feel something important, not every sentence got something important. If you're not sure, you may want to come back. You highlight first. You don't transfer yet. Okay. Purchase the first residential property. Now, be careful. They're not asking that. They're asking the Kuala Lumpur condominium. Right? So she purchased one in 2009. She redesigned it, furnished it, lived it before selling the property for twice the price she purchased for it. This was not asked. So if you bring up the PJ property, it's not correct for this. So RPGT return was duly submitted. This shows it was treated as capital. That's perfectly fine because she's not somebody who buys and sells properties regularly. This was just a one house, one transaction. Twice the price doesn't matter. Remember, it's the intention at the point of acquisition. Okay. Now, so January 17. Now you must highlight the day she bought. Okay, you must highlight the day she bought because you link to the day she sold. Okay, so in this situation, I evaluate frequency from 2009 to 2017 is only once. So I can evaluate it to be capital. I can evaluate it to be capital. Right? So that's how you try to figure out. Okay, Miss Day reinvested the proceeds. So she did not take a loan. So this also more towards capital. Right? So when you look at it, you have to be able to recognize how this comes is through lots of practice. Badges of trade, there is not many questions in the past year. Okay, but like I told you, I'm going to send you independent study questions. I'll do it today. If not, somebody ask me tomorrow in the lecture. Okay, I'll try to send you by late evening. That is for you to take a look. Now, whatever I send, I'm not implying is coming out for the progress test because I'm looking at December 7. Sorry, December 8. Okay. Now, so did not take a loan is capital. Evaluate on frequency depends. If she from 2009 to 17 sell 10 houses, definitely is trading. So this is easy. Now, next one also easy. Redesign, furnish the property. So you are making it value higher. So it's more towards trading, right? So you see, what's in the textbook is actually not, I mean, for badges of trade is the practice. After putting the condominium on the market, you see all this is, there are hidden pieces of info here. After putting the condominium in the market, so there is an intention to sell, is trading. That means nobody she offered to sell it. Okay, now 400,000 more doesn't matter. Like I told you, what is the intention at the time of purchase? Whether it's capital or trading, whether it's capital or trading, people will definitely sell above the purchase price. Nobody wants to sell at a loss. Okay, so you see, they will never, ever put the acquisition and disposal date together because they want you to think. So this is 2nd December and January 17. So interval is very short. So it actually leans towards trading. Okay. Now when you read this is Musang King, you know it's already moving to the next question. So it stopped already. So as you read, you transfer, right? So let's say sometimes there'll be more towards one. Just leave it because maybe it's like that. Just try your best, but not logical point, don't put in. Now, what we get, some problem is that students, what is supposed to be trading, they write under capital and vice versa. Now, sometimes can, it depends how you argue, but if you argue wrongly, cannot. Okay, if you argue wrongly, cannot. See, it's all about writing. So I hope you are able to write. Okay. Now, some of these points are quite hard to find. Okay, first one, we found it. Second one, we found it. You see, they elaborate. They elaborate. So don't just simply write the title without elaborate. Okay, this one actually we didn't really find because it's a bit hard. That means here they are arguing that there's already a pattern even though it's twice. But you can flip it over. Now, this meaning of fortuitous, I wrote myself. Fortuitous means chance. You don't have to write such bombastic words. Okay, so there are some points that you can get. Okay, capital is harder a bit. Okay, we found out the finance partly. Okay, it was a home, that means it's personal enjoyment. That one I didn't really realize because it's very hard to realize that. This third one also I didn't highlight because it's a very general point. Earlier transaction capital, this one also capital. Okay, no frequency, no repetition. Yes, we read frequency. So we got at least some of the points. Now, here she accepts both. Now, what do you write in the conclusion? You just write your main points. No need to write all, just write your main points. Okay, if you say you can accept adventure in the nature of trade because it's a short holding period. So they have just, actually, if you want to write back all your summarized points, okay, but just summarize it. Don't write again. So you can copy and paste and revamp it a bit. So in this scenario, two conclusions could be accepted. Okay, because it's not really clear, but I would prefer the alternative because she sold in a very short time. That is a very strong indicator. Now, if two conclusions can be accepted, then you can write either one, you get the marks. So sometimes it's like that when it's sitting on the fence like this. But for me, I would prefer the alternative because of the short holding period. Okay, so batches of trade can be done, but some students are not. The main problem is they copy exactly from the question without elaborating. Cannot, you must elaborate a bit. Okay, you have to elaborate it a bit. Okay, the second question is easier. Okay, we're done with the first one. Okay, capital and revenue arguments in respect of the potential gain from the proposed disposal of Durian Haven. Okay, state your conclusion regarding the correct treatment. Okay, now let's say you really don't know how to do the first one. So you found you got very little points. So you just move on now. You don't go back and think, because the time will be ticking. Right? Now, actually, number 2 is much easier. Why she don't want to put the Durian Heaven as the first one is because she doesn't want you to start off with a nice mood. Some people you see, psychologically, they'll be affected. I write so little, 6 marks can get how many marks? So your brain will be playing that. You just have to move on strong psychologically. Okay. Durian Haven is in the second paragraph. Okay. So 2010. So I told you already, nowadays they are kind enough, especially question 1, 2. I think it flows through all the questions. First paragraph is for the first, follow the order. They don't have anything, right? So actually, there's no need to read the whole thing. Last time, paper-based where they put the question, the info here and there, I advise students to read the whole thing. Now I said no, no need. Okay, so 2010, evaluate the length of period, capital. She bought the Durian Heaven in 2010. So now it's 2018, definitely capital. Inherited must be capital. Fence up, build roads. So here I can have 2 points. Right? I can have 2 points. Fence up area, I make the property marketable, trading. Right? Fence up area and build roads. I'll just make it clearer a bit. Okay, fence up area, build roads. I make the property marketable. So it is trading. Planted Musang King durian trees is an investment generating income. So this is capital. Okay, this is capital. Okay, personal enjoyment, enjoy back to nature weekends. Personal enjoyment is capital. Okay, so this is how you must elaborate. So you notice it's much easier than the first one. Traps. Okay, Chinese businessman who heard about Durian Heaven recently made a generous offer. So no intention to sell. Investment, which is capital in nature. So this is very easy. The points are definitely conclusion is capital because the length of period is very long. And she actually enjoyed it. So I can only find one trading point. Now mind, I can write that. See, there are only 2 points. This one, second time also they say frequent. So this type of things is beyond our control. Okay. The rest we also got it. We got it. 8 years because it's exam. Exam in December 2018. Suddenly you ask me why is it 8 years 2010? Is the exam is December 2018. Okay, so you see, easy to get the marks here. Right? This just tells you if you cannot do the first one, go on. There may be easy things. Okay, this second time, I think very hard to write. Or some students are so worried, why I write so much capital? Why I write so little revenue? Okay, why I write so little capital? Sorry, why I write so much capital, so little revenue? Doesn't matter, sometimes it's like that. Okay, now here the conclusion, you cannot say revenue because it's leaning very much towards the capital. Now, if you are not really sure to make a general conclusion, now mind, you can use the most substantial points. Then some of you all will tell me, I don't know which is my substantial points. Then you summarize all points and write it down. Okay, just use your most substantial points, right? Like in this situation, you can say that it was inherited, it took 8 years for her, and so on. Those are my most substantial points. Okay, now please, you must be able to do it. Out of the, just now we saw 10 marks for question 1 and 2, at least reasonably 7 or 6. Nothing less than 6, which is very much achievable, provided, very much achievable, provided you start off correctly. Okay, again, I do emphasize, okay, if you're stuck at number 1, don't give up. Don't just sit down there, right? Go on. And you'll find your confidence coming back because it's much easier to do. Okay, number 3 is actually, she's just playing with your head. Where got such thing one? That means after I change my treatment, they asked me to reassess treatment of the old game. So answer is definitely no. So some of you all will say, okay, I'll reassess. Oh my God. So you must be confident. These people, they don't know their text. Now, be careful. Not every one of them is like that. Some of them, the scenario, they balance out. What they say is correct. Because they don't want you to guess. Okay, so now, last time if you learn long ago, RPGT is no more tax, but now everybody got 5% after 5 years. Okay, so now there is a maximum is 2 marks, but they give you 3. So, but max is 2. Now you straight away jump in, you just get 1 mark. So you must explain why was it capital. Why was it capital? You need to explain that. So very simple. She bought the house for enjoyment, the PJ house. Okay. And then there's RPGT of 5%. Okay, many would have written that. Okay. Maybe most would just write the second paragraph. So just get 1 out of 2. If you write, let's say you wrote that I will reassess, you get 0 out of 2. Because it's wrong. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, this one also. See, all theory, 3 and 6 marks. Okay, 3 marks. Design service as business income. Okay. So design service is here. So for property disposal, you just need to read this. In fact, once you look at the next paragraph, Musang King, you can just leave it. Most of the time, it ends here already for the first property. Sorry, for the KL condominium. Okay. Okay, so how will I classify it as business income? Because now, this is actually in the first paragraph, second paragraph is already Singapore. Okay, now, okay, we come back here. So, hobby, is it part of business income? Now, to answer this type of question, you must look at what she's doing. So, the word hobby actually is not so relevant. Okay, the word hobby actually is not so relevant because we need to know what she's doing. Right? Now, nowhere in the textbook you read hobby is a business income or hobby is not a business income. Right? Nowhere in the textbook you read hobby is a business income or hobby is not a business income. Okay, right? So you must look at the nature. In fact, even when you go out to work in tax department, you have to ask the client a list of the expenditure. Don't just trust the account name there. Right? Let's say repair account. Inside there may be things which is capitalized. So you have to look at what is inside there. Look at what is inside there. Okay. Now, so while not working, okay, the first sentence is just telling you she designs private residential house. She maintains a duly equipped studio office now. This means that the business is done in an organized manner. Okay, you may not really get that interpretation, but in general, she has like a fixed place of business. Right, so you can write, she has like a fixed place of business. Okay, she does not report the amounts. That is the last question. So, now for 3 marks, it may be a bit hard to write. All we can think of is this duly equipped studio office. So you start writing that down first. Remember, no need to think, I want to get 3 marks, and then you start writing after that. No. As I told you, whatever points that is relevant and important to the question, you write it down first. So you will get 1 mark for writing that she maintains an office. Now, if you cannot think further, then you move on. But if you can, you just have to mention that this is a hobby. Hobby is not an essential perquisite, whether it's a business income or not. We have to look at what is she doing? We have to look at whether she's doing it in organized manner or not, and so on. Okay, is she doing it regularly? Okay, now I think she's doing it regularly because there's some information given here at the top. Devoting her remaining days to her other interests. So see, this is before the property disposal, so it may be relevant for both scenarios. Okay, now for 3 marks, they have included half a mark for definition of business. That's why I told you when I taught you, you need to remember, you see, half a mark there. Okay, now the second paragraph is telling you, okay, it's a bit challenging to write, especially in exam time. Number one, they are arguing that she's being paid money for it. And then she's doing it in organized manner. How do I know she's being paid money for it? Okay, because she's received income, this is very indirect. Okay. So I feel it's easy. Maybe this hard, you may get just 1 or 2 upon 3, but not 0 lah. The definition of business, nobody expected that to be put inside there. Perhaps they got nothing else to put in. These are some of the marks. There are 3 marks there. You can only see 2.5. Perhaps half more would be first sentence there. Services are professional services. Okay, next one would be more, it may be easier, right? You see, I feel the second one is easier. So these are all her traps. Make you suffer in the first question, sometimes not always. And then second one, easy. So if you cannot, you just move on and come back later. Okay. So this is same like the Mr. Ray. The main activity in Singapore, the main activity in Malaysia. Okay, what she did in Singapore is not the main activity, not the core or integral activity. Okay, what she did in Singapore is not the core or integral activity. Okay, so this one, there are 6 marks. Now, then expenses incurred. Now, they don't tell you how much. So you must be careful. State the expenses. State, no need to explain. Just write down. But you must be careful. Make sure it is revenue in nature. So anybody who say she buy design machine, you gonna get wrong. She bought a computer, cannot accept. If you say repair the computer, repair the design machine, okay. Okay, so make sure it's revenue in nature. Right, so easier to score here. Okay, the big question is how many? How many should I put in? Definitely not 1. Is it 5? 10 is too much. So maybe 4 4 to 5 How do I estimate? Now, how do you estimate? 6 marks. So just estimate like that. Here's 3. Here's 3. Okay. So then after that, 6 points times half. Because usually the mark is half. They are very stingy. Most of the things they don't give 1 mark. Okay, you may not get 6, but if you get 4, 5 each, is something better than nothing. Okay, now try to give different one. Don't say, okay, number 1, I pay electricity bill. Number 2, I pay water bill. I don't know whether they're going to accept. Okay, number 3, I pay sewerage bill. Okay, don't try to say like that unless you are really blank. Then I think most probably no. You're just going to get half for the 3. It depends. Okay, so same argument. Same argument. What's the argument? Her main job is done in Malaysia. Singapore is the preparatory job. Okay, money received in Singapore is not important. Singapore is just to receive instructions and agree. But what did she do? She did all in Malaysia. Once you prepare the service in Malaysia, subject to tax in Malaysia. Now, some students ask me, should it be subject to tax in Singapore? Most likely no, because she doesn't have any base there, a place of business in Singapore. She's just going there to get her instructions. okay, and send the final work. So a few marks you can get by writing, this is not a core activity. The core activity or integral activity is done in Kuala Lumpur. Okay. So here they have put 4 and 2, but never mind, if you estimated 3 and 3, because there's no way for you to know it's 4 and 2. So remember, core work done in Malaysia, preparatory work in Singapore. Okay, now look at this expenditure. They are all revenue. So be careful, don't go and write office computer system. Look at this, rental, repair. Now, some of y'all may not think so. If you cannot think of expenditure, very simple, what do you do? Expenses that would qualify for tax deduction. So look at the office expenditure. Be careful, I say don't go and say buy asset, and don't go and write I replace the computer. That is capital. This is not rental income. Okay, I have to tell you all this because I've seen all this. Okay, so office, what can you think? Of course, you can think of the utility bills, right? But try to write that once only. Don't write first water bill, gas bill, and then all those. Okay, other than studio office, then perhaps the Singapore expenditure, because the Singapore expenditure could be deductible because it's related to the business in Malaysia. So be specific, don't say expenditure in Singapore. Okay, give me around 5 minutes more, 5 to 10, up to you. Around 5 to 7 minutes, then I'll conclude here because I don't want halfway cut. It's not fair to you. Okay, someone's recorded because I'll post this up. I'll write the title as December 14 and so on, so that next time when you revise, you want to find where is it, then you find it there. Okay, so you try, but students, I don't know, they get phobia or their brain freeze. So you can put a few expenses in Singapore, like traveling ticket to Singapore is okay. Then cost of living in Singapore. I mean, hotel stay in Singapore. Okay. See, maintenance, see, clue, studio office. Okay, this one, you must be careful. Don't write purchase, they're just waiting. Stationery and office supplies is revenue. We never treat it as capital. Traveling expenses to client premises. Okay. Okay, now final one. Okay, this one you have not learned yet in ATX, but you have learned in TX. Most of y'all would have forgotten. Okay, first step. Individual who has business income. Right? You have learned in the lower level. So when I come to the tax admin chapter, I'll tell you everything in the lower level is important. I'll give you some summarized notes. But some students, they don't like tax admin. So they shouldn't be in taxation if you don't like tax admin. Because it's the heart of tax. Penalties, deadlines, submissions, all those. Submit, return form. Now you don't know, sorry, you don't need to know what type of form. There's no marks for form name in ATX. By 30th June. So YA 2017 is 30th June 2018. Right? YA 2018 is 30th June 2019. Right? YA 2017 is 30th June 2018. YA 2018 is 30th June 2019. Okay, you should know that. This is basic text. It won't be tested in the, sorry, it won't be taught in ATX, but you have to read up on it. I'll give you some summary notes in the textbook also got. Miss Day is not a company, right? Now, grace period of 2 weeks is not applicable. E-filing deadline is not applicable for ATX exams because e-filing every year is subject to confirmation, the deadline. This is the statutory date. So all those grace periods are not applicable. Okay. Now, so you need to remember, okay, most of you all have forgotten, for YA 17, okay, today's date, I mean exam date, is December 2018, right? So for YA 17, now in the exam report meeting, she told us, this is June exam, we got meeting, so that time before COVID is face-to-face. So she told us many students wrote, oh, Miss Day, understatement of income, penalty, 2,000 to 20,000, jail. Okay, yes, that can be accepted, but you're not acting in her best interest, right? So for that, it won't. Very few students wrote about this. Why very few students wrote about this? Because she didn't ask previously in the past year. This new, I mean, the topic of tax admin is very popular, but this scenario was not tested. So if you remember, taxpayer, when there is income under declared, okay, when there's income under declared, taxpayer is allowed to amend the tax return within 6 months from the due date, from the return due date. So the return due date is 30th June. When there is income under declared, taxpayers allowed to amend the tax return within 6 months from the return due date. So second sentence, you write, this is still within time. So she told us only 2 or 3 people wrote like that, or very few people wrote, and all in a team want to employ them. It's just a joke. They won't know your name. Your name is blank code. Okay, right? So when there is income under declared, taxpayers allowed to amend the tax return within 6 months from return due date. Okay, don't worry if you have forgotten. When we come to tax admin, you must brush up. Okay, so it is still within the time limit. Okay, see, we just need simple sentences. Most of y'all, your English, when we read in the progress test, is quite okay. Except maybe 1 or 2 of y'all, these people, you must try short sentences. Okay, so that people know what you're writing. Okay, still within the time limit. She'll be subject. Now, definitely there's a penalty. So this is also relevant to y'all next time. If you accidentally underdeclare your income, you can do this, but only within 6 months. She'll be subject to a penalty of 10%. Now, there's no more 10 plus 5. Those who studied long ago, the 5% has been removed, thank God. Okay, that's one more thing to remember. Penalty of 10% of underpaid tax. Right? Subject to a penalty of 10% of underpaid tax. Okay? So instead of straight away arguing, oh, she's going to get under declaration penalty, see what can be done with a lower penalty within the reasonable time. This one. So that is for YA 17. The above for YA 17, I forgot to write there. Now, YA 18, the due date, you see why she asked? She just wants to play with your brain. The due date is 30th June 2019. still within a time limit, still within a time limit, 30th June 2019, still within a time limit. Advisor to include the income. So you must be really calm and think, because I'm not lying to you. We can just do all the past years, but if you are like this September, a lot of new things came out, but what we have taught but packaged in a different way. But many cannot accept that. They want exactly the same as past year. Sorry, right? That will not happen. But you must do the past year to get the feel. Okay. Okay, so I've already mentioned like that. So 25, if you keep a cool head, yeah, some are a bit hard to get. Not all the 25 easy. Maybe at least 70% of it, I hope you can get. Or at least 65%, not 50%. 50 a bit dangerous. Okay, I will stop here. If you got any questions, ask. Okay, then tomorrow we'll continue with the normal lesson. Okay, no worries. No worries, because in class I have to teach. I got a big syllabus with limited time. So it's like you must be a sponge in class. Okay. Now, what you must do, you must try to write down and do. Okay, try to write down, but not all. No worries.